Welcome in. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are in the country here. My name is Kayla Brown. I am part of the customer success team here at Managed Methods. So wanted to just welcome you guys all. This is the Managed Methods Ask Us Anything session. So if that's what you're here for, you're in the right place. I am, like I said, part of the Managed Methods team. I'm coming to you live here from our headquarters. We are at Boulder, Colorado, right in the beautiful foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So it is about 11:04 my time. So good morning over here. Good afternoon on your side, wherever you guys might be. Awesome. So April 29th, let's get going. A couple of housekeeping items. Let me get this over here. Our webinar is being recorded. We received a couple hundred RSVPs registrations today. Life gets busy, so whoever didn't get to join us, or if you guys want to just follow along afterwards, this will be sent out in about, give us 24 or so hours. If you don't receive it by Thursday, Friday, reach out to me. I'll get it to you. Let's see, everyone is muted, but the Q&A panel is always open. Feel free to drop any questions you might have down in the Q&A there. We do have people that are going to be moderating that, so we can get back to you in real time. If it's something we want to address on the call too, then let us know, and we'll be happy to chat about that here as well. Alrighty, let's get to our agenda. So we're going to start out here today. We are going to do introductions, a little overview of what we have going on today. We will have a panel discussion. We have a great panelist here with us today as well. So a bunch of these questions were submitted ahead of time, and we'll be able to get to those. And then we will definitely have some time here at the end for a live Q&A. So for any of you who've been to one of our webinars before, you'll notice this is going to be a little different. We host many different types of structures. So a lot of them are going to be customer only. We have a couple of them that are just kind of more industry focused. This is a little bit of both. So we have a bunch of familiar names and faces in here today from our customers, and we have a couple of people in here who are just kind of checking it out. So this is going to be kind of structured a little differently. Most of you should have received an email just asking, like, what do you want to hear? And that's kind of where we're going today. So this session is fully designed for you. What you've asked, we're here to listen and kind of discuss that. So whether you're a current customer or just checking us out, we'll make sure we get all of that answered for you. Awesome. So let's go ahead and let's see. What screen am I even on there now? All right. So we have our speaker introductions. So I'm going to jump to that here in a little bit, but for right now, I'm going to pass over that and let them introduce themselves here in a second. Let's set the stage, right? So what are we doing here? Why are we all gathered here together? Let's talk about that. We realize that tech teams, especially in like the K-12 market, this is more critical than ever. But we all know this is the reality. Schools rely on cloud technology for everything, whether it's teaching to operations. We're all kind of relying on this cloud technology. Tech teams are stretched thin, and we know you're under-resourced, and you guys are all probably sitting there just kind of like nodding your heads in the background with that. We all know that's the reality here. And then cybersecurity threats and student mental health are really we know they're hitting just like crisis highs right now. And so that's something where we like to come in. That's our passion here at Managed Methods. And obviously with your roles, that's, I assume, your passion as well. It's why you do what you do. So let me give you a quick little company overview about why we are doing what we're doing. Obviously, this is the problem here itself, how we address it. And then we're going to really dive into those questions. So Managed Methods. That's who we are. Our quick little company intro. We believe security, safety, compliance, it really shouldn't be overwhelming. Those are the three things we focus on. It shouldn't be overwhelming. It shouldn't be a big, one-person team shouldn't be too overwhelmed with just those items are there. So we try to be kind of like your virtual assistant there with Managed Methods. Anything from the browser to the cloud is what we're looking at for you. So how we do that, we have 3 different products. So here at Managed Methods, our flagship, what you guys have probably all heard before, is the Cloud Monitor. So Cloud Monitor was, like I said, our flagship product. It provides Google and Microsoft cybersecurity and student safety. try and make it affordable for you. Don't break the bank, but still kind of have you there as that assistant. We also have its industry standard topic content filter. We all have heard the term before. We're filtering that content, right? Staying SIPA compliant and making sure that our students are, filtered for what they're viewing right there on those school provided screens. And our last but not least, our new product that we're going to actually look at a little bit today as well is going to be our Classroom Manager. So again, a bit of an industry standard term. A lot of people are using Classroom Managers these days, checking in, seeing what those kiddos are doing while they're in class, making sure we're staying on topic and staying focused. And that's probably one of those big pain points in a lot of teachers' lives is just what are they doing when their screen's not facing the teacher, right? We want to make sure that those kiddos are staying on topic and they're actually, doing what we're asking them to do while in class. So all three of these products, they're designed to be affordable, easy to use. And for us, we've specifically built this for K-12. All right, we've all heard me talk a lot. Let me go back and let's introduce our team here today. Let me pull this up. Oops, wrong one. So, speaker introductions. We've all heard me talking. I'm Kayla. Like I said, I'm here with ManagedMethods, part of the customer success team. So my role here is I get to hang out with our customers, get to hang out with them on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I kind of take over customers once they are into kind of my bucket. So after they've been customer for a year, you're with me. We get to hang out all the time. We're representing almost all 50 states as well as internationally. I get to hang out with the Southeast pretty much all the way up to the Pacific Northwest. So kind of trickle all the way down. They decided that they realized that time zones didn't matter for me, I guess. So I get to hang out with a little bit of everyone. And then I also represent a couple of our international customers as well. So a little bit about me. We also have John here on the call. John and I actually were hired about the same time. So we're Batman and Robin style. I'm obviously Robin. But so he is going to be our product specialist today. And if you have any demos or questions about the product, he's going to definitely be the go-to guy. And then we have Bob here today. Greg, unfortunately, couldn't join us. He's still up here on our screen, but he couldn't join us today. So we have Bob here with us. He's our rock star on the call. Bob, if you want to go ahead, feel free to introduce yourself.
I feel terrible that you said rock star because I'm exhausted. And, if the issue we had this morning would have started 20 minutes later, I wouldn't be here either.
Oh no.
I've been the Chief Information Officer at Kettle Moraine School District since 2013. I've been in education markets for 30 years. So I started my career as a software developer, then was a network engineer, and then a data conversion specialist for a student information system. And then was recruited to take over the technology department at a school district in Wisconsin. And so I was there for 7.5 years, and I've been in KM now for almost 12.
I feel like you're probably preaching to the choir with, if you had this problem 20 minutes ago or 20 minutes earlier or later, then you wouldn't be here. I know you guys are always, there's always a fire that you're having to put out. Again, that goes to that probably understaffed and under-resourced style, but you're wearing all the hats and you're wearing them well. So we salute all of you guys, especially y'all tech directors out there. So
it's the importance of having a great team. So being able to call in 2 people and say, you're going to handle this because I need to be on a webinar. So that's where we're at.
I love putting that on other people's plates too. It's good to have the team that that you can handle out with them. You don't have to worry about micromanaging style things. And again, it's a good thing to have. So we're lucky to have you here today, and thanks for being here for sure. So awesome. Well, let's go ahead and dive into some of these issues that we've been seeing. I'm going to go back down to a bit of an agenda today. So again, this is a bit of a new style that we are focusing on here for our webinar today. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just go over a couple of these pain points. We're going to hit all of these. We've kind of grouped them into 4 specific categories so we can kind of look at all of them. And then we're going to chat here a little bit, see how, other districts are handling these issues. And then what we'll do is we'll also jump into our Managed Methods platform, and just to show how we handle them and how districts are utilizing our platform to do so. So let's all laugh and nod. We understand the first 2. We all know students using VPNs, phishing emails. Those are, they're hot topics right now. Those are some pretty big deals. So we'll start first here with VPN usage, and just figuring out, is this a VPN? Is this suspicious login? How do we find those things? How do we figure it out? And how really are you addressing that, Bob?
Well, it depends on where you're thinking of it from. We have managed methods that gives us some visibility into the different, in our case, Google and Microsoft application environments. We are a Google school and a Microsoft 365 school. We use the suspicious login alerts. We use the application alerts. When Google turned off the applications being enabled by default, that helped quite a bit. But as my network engineer said this morning when I asked him a question, he said it's just whack-a-mole when you're dealing with things that come in from outside. We also have a hardware firewall, not a software-based one, that catches probably in the neighborhood of 90% of the traffic going outbound. So when we find something that's happening from the district network, we're pretty confident that we catch it, and either Managed Methods, our Azure cloud environment, our Arctic Wolf environment, or our Fortinet firewall catches almost everything.
Takes a village.
But that's internal. When the students are at home, all those bets are pretty much off.
Yeah, and that's something that we hear through a little bit of everyone. The kids are going to find ways to get around whatever they need to get around, right? So, and that's great. And, I'm glad that you said you have all of these things in place for it. You're doing everything that you need to do. The kids are all still going to find a way to get around it. But, and you hit a good point on those, being able to use the suspicious logins and stuff from Managed Methods platforms. And that's how we like to address a lot of it from our end. So those suspicious logins, and just making sure that it is, a VPN usage instead of, someone kind of trying to get in there and hack the system itself. So just being able to at least acknowledge that and see what it is, and having those firewalls in place is great. I guess for that, let's go ahead. John, do you want to, I guess I can kill my screen here for a minute. If you want to log in and show kind of a little bit about what Bob was saying on the managed method side of things, how we address that ourselves. If you want to go ahead, and can you steal my screen, or do I need to stop sharing so you can take over?
Yeah, go ahead and stop your share.
All right, I'll kill it. There we go.
All right. Well, good morning, afternoon, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. And yep, you all are looking at the correct screen. So, as Bob hit on, as Kayla hit on, inside of Managed Methods, we can absolutely help you, one, to start identifying, is this even a VPN in the first place? Could this potentially be a compromised account? So with all that being said, first off, from the main page of the summary, you can actually scroll down and look at a login map, right? So by default, the only approved country is the United States. So it doesn't matter if you go up into Canada just a little bit, or across the pond over into Japan or England or India, right? All of these login events are able to be spotted, okay? Now, something that I always bring to people's attention, and I'm actually going to start moving over to the login analyzer where you can see all this information, is that we are focused on the credentials, okay? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they're on their cell phone, if they're on the device you gave them at school, if they go home and they get on their parents' account. If they are using your environment's credentials, we will be able to spot any login events. So the first thing that we have the ability to do is, one, just analyze and see when it happened and why. So I'm going to use the admin great examples here. First things first, you're getting when it happened, right? So a good way of kind of filtering out, is this real or not? What time did that happen? Were they at school or at home? 10 p.m., kids are at home, right? Who did it? the IP address it came from, including IPv6s, your location. Inside of the parentheses is the ISP. Now, I've probably been on a call with a few of you all before, and something that I always point out to your attention is look at those ISPs. Most of the time, the students will use the same ISP, which we actually can let you know. Let me find a good example here that says it straight up, Proton VPN. I wonder what that is. Spur will analyze that IP address and give you as much information as it can about the IP address and the ISP that actually owns that address, right? So again, I always tell people the last sentence of data center is a good place to start as well. VPN, proxy, cloud gateway, or performing some automated activity, right? So, okay, John, it's great that you're showing me that. What do we do from here? Well, once you have all of this, first off, I'm skipping over a point, your event types. Login success is letting you know, obviously, they were successful in getting in your environment. Well, John, how did they get in? The Google password, right? So again, this is another way that we can say, you know what? How likely is it that the actual password is out there and these bad actors are doing it? Or is this just this kid who decided, hey, I want to keep my profile on my cell phone, and they're just signing into their proxies, VPNs, and we are catching the activity. All right. So with all this information from the login analyzer, you can always take it back over to the accounts. Now, with the accounts, this is just letting you know the pertinent information about an account. And I always tell people, look at the storage. I have been in an environment that had a student have 7 terabytes of storage inside of their school domain, right? At no point should a student be even in the top 5 of storage when it comes to people inside of your domain, right? So from there, John, this looks a little bit goofy. Where is it being stored? Well, you got a lot in your drive, you got a lot in your Gmail. Is the account compromised? You can actually go to the account summary page. And let me tell you right now, these specific values right here, these are taken within a 6-month time frame. Okay. The next thing is I always tell people to use the "Have I been pwned" button. This will let you know if your accounts were a part of any known data breaches, right? If you're not seeing anything, great. If you are, we will let you know what happened and what got out. Then I always tell people to honestly just come down and use a little bit of investigative tools and common sense, right? Just the top 4 examples right here. At 8 o'clock in the morning, they were in India. Before 9, they were back in California. And before 10, they got back to India. I can keep going, but you get it. Essentially, unless they are the Flash or they can teleport, that is impossible travel. Again, you add that onto the fact that they've been to 545 locations in 6 months. Like, even basketball players don't travel that much. So with all that being said, you think that account is compromised, go ahead and suspend that account or reset the password directly from inside of the Managed Methods tool there. All right. So again, it's just putting it all together, getting that login activity from the analyzer, seeing, hey, is this straight up just saying that it's a proxy or a VPN? Or is it saying it's not able to give me as much information as I'd like? Okay, we'll go actually to the account summary page. Does the login events make, or do the login events make sense? If not, shut that account down. Stop letting them go throughout your environment, right? So that is how we handle, 1, identify, is it potentially a VPN or a proxy? And then 2, to kind of hammer home, has my environment been compromised with these accounts or not, right? Now, finally, the cherry on top is you also, as Bob said before, do have the ability to set policies. Now, with those policies, the login events, we are an API-based solution. We get the time back as at the same time frame that Google will get the time back. So even Google will tell you within a 4-hour time frame. Now, with that, we do have the ability to, if it is a suspicious event, you can suspend that user, reset the password, or just send out a warning directly to those end users directly from here. So this is looking for anything Google considers suspicious, plus outside of the country. anything just purely outside of the country. And until you set specific unapproved IPs, we just have that turned off. So it's not blowing up your notification box talking about an unapproved login event. All right. And now all of these policies, as soon as they are tripped up and we get the information back, you do have the ability to be notified immediately. So set the remediation to suspend that user and then go check on it. Make sure, yeah, you know what? This is actually kind of goofy. Let's get this out of here. Right. But you do have the ability there to be notified and set any remediation for any type of login event that you build out. And something that I kind of passed over is you do have the ability to lock down your students a little bit more than your staff. That is filtered views, which is a conversation for another day. So with that, Kayla, floor is yours.
Yeah, not a problem. Appreciate you going through all those too. And there's different ways that everyone can go about, addressing how they're going to, prohibit students using VPNs. And so that's kind of how we address it. We know that we're not going to always be able to not allow them to, but at least what we've done is we are providing tools to be able to let you know, hey, this is one of our issues, and here's how to address it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of issues and pain points, we'll get to one that everyone here is thinking, and we all know it, as far as phishing emails. And a lot of our districts have been hit really hard recently with a lot of these phishing emails. It's a hot topic, and within the industry, and honestly, any and every industry at this point. My partner works in technology as well, and he does like tech sales, and he's like, that's even outside of K-12. It's just such a big topic right now. Bob, how are you guys getting hit with a lot of like phishing emails, and does it go into your staff? Are you getting it with students as well, or how? Like, what's going on over there?
Everyone.
Yeah, you're like, yes, obviously.
Yep, we do. We have phishing tests that we do. We don't do those for students as much because we don't allow them direct access to most of our internal network resources. So we don't do as much with our students. We have been planning on it, but as you said in the opener, understaffed, under-resourced. So we do about 5 times a year. We do phishing tests with our staff. We provide remedial training for those who fail, and direct conversation with me if you fail 3 times.
Oh, Bob, but you're such a nice guy. You've got laid on the law sometimes, huh? Like until you fail 3 times, and then you're not as nice, right?
I'm the nice guy. So thank you.
I recently had to, and of course, working kind of here in the cybersecurity industry, and my mom called me panicking because my grandmother got hit with who knows what. And she was like, she didn't leak her information. She just sent all of my mother's information. She was like, I thought it was you. And so I spent, hours and days at that point on the phone with my mom trying to figure everything out. And I was having this conversation with one of my colleagues, and he was like, that may have been the same person, because one of my colleagues was telling me his mom was hit with it basically too. And he's a little more tech savvy on this side too.
Probably happened through Facebook. And my 83-year-old mother-in-law had that happen to her 5 years ago.
I mean, and that's 5 years ago. And so everything's obviously just like, every technology is forever growing and evolving. And so like now how easy they can get into your environment's almost scary. So we, and here at Managed Methods, we actually are working to enhance our phishing protection right now as well. So we're really excited to mention that. We'll get into that later date when it's actually fully released. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Everyone's going through it, and at least having those those phishing tests out for the staff is nice. And usually, hopefully, you don't have too many of those 3-time repeat offenders, but I know you do. And people are like, this is easy, that's fine. You said what?
The worst one was a school board member.
See, and like you can't punish them, but I feel like sometimes it doesn't have the same effect.
That actually works out fairly well, because then the conversations about budget for security and other things that we have make it a little closer to home for the board.
See, look, always thinking one step ahead, Bob. I like that. Take notes, everyone. Take notes on that one. I know budget's always an issue, so that helped. But JB, I'll leave that one to you if you want to kind of like show we how we kind of address that here within our platform too. I'll give you the floor for that.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So, yes, currently inside of Managed Methods, we definitely can help you all with finding those phishing attempts and then getting rid of them from your environments. Now, currently, as Kayla did mention, it is going to be URL based when it comes to those phishing attempts. So we use Google Web Risk API and Fish Tank as our phishing scanning engines currently. And again, that will be for your URL-based phishing attempts. For any of those more sophisticated attempts, right now we are still in a more manual stage of like getting those attempts, building it out to be on the lookout in the future. Now, John, all right, we got hit with the phishing attempt. What do we do? Well, first things first, figure out where it's coming from, right? If you have an example, whether someone forwarded on to you or it actually got sent to you, perfect. Because now you can find it inside of your environment and completely rip that thing out. What I mean by that is with our live email search, as long as the emails exist inside of your environment, go ahead and clear that date out. What are you all looking for? Well, John, I don't know who it all went to, but I know we got hit with the phishing attempt, something about Tony Romo. All right, cool, Tony Romo. I am going to unselect lazy loading because lazy loading, when it is selected, will do your first 200 results as quick as possible. Is that what you were looking for? Great. If not, search again, save yourself the time. If you don't know who it all went to, unselect lazy loading. We are going to search the superintendent all the way down to the bus driver. All right, so clear it out, put in everything you have, go ahead and search for it. Oh, look, all these emails here. Tony Romo, Tony Romo, Tony Romo. Cool, select all, delete, get it out of there. And with our live email search, we are looking at the inbox, the sent mail, the spam, the trash. The only things that we don't have access to are the fully deleted emails. That is when you would have to go into Vault or your backup solution. But again, whatever you know about the email, unselect lazy loading, sit back, take a sip of coffee, let it do its full search. Once you find it, select all, delete it, get it out of there. Just like that. All right. And honestly, as Kayla said, we're getting hit a lot of times, and sometimes it comes from students. Well, something else that you have the ability to do, if it is coming from a singular student, you actually have the ability to select the delete option. And when you delete, it'll say delete from current or delete from all. If you delete from all, we are ripping that email out of all internal mailboxes. Okay. So this is John. We think it got through. Go find it. Once you find it, delete it. And then you do have the ability to set policies. So again, we know it's mostly hitting our staff right now, so I'm gonna make sure I built this on the staff side at this point in time. At the policy, we are specifically looking for email and a phishing scan, right? So I'll go ahead and call this phishing test. Ooh, what did I just do there? There we go, phishing test, right? Phishing scan, it's going to look at all of your staff members, right? Because we're at the staff OU, and this is going to be anything that is incoming into your environment through email. Go ahead and hit apply to save it down at the bottom. And then, sorry if I'm making anyone dizzy, then you have the ability to say, all right, if you notice that email, then go ahead and delete it. It will hit the inbox within 5 to 10 seconds. We will delete it. Quarantine it. So, hey, you know what, John? I actually want to know if it comes back again. So quarantine the email and then notify yourself immediately. So that way it's not sitting in their inbox, drops it down to their trash can. It'll notify you ASAP. You go ahead, check on the email. If nothing is wrong with it, restore it back to that end user. If it is an actual phishing attempt, well, now you have the perfect email to build a risk scan for the future. All right. So the ability to one, go ahead and search for it inside of Gmail and the live email search with our Cloud Access Monitor, and then being able to build policies to be on the lookout for any future events that are hitting your environment. All right. phishing and how we can currently address that here inside of Managed Methods. Now, one more thing that I'll hit on is we also seen the question about phishing documents, right? Well, drive files. Very similarly to Gmail, with the live file search right here, whatever you have about that file in question, clear the date out, go and look for it, right? And I always like to do this funny because I want to show you the date does not matter. Look at how long Avatar has been sitting inside of our environment. Nope. As long as it is native to your environment, delete it, get it out of there. So the live email search, the live file search, just like the live email search, will do a live API call. It will search your entire organizational drive, or in this case, your students' drives inside of your organization for whatever you're looking for. Like I said, if you find it, take the corrective action. Alrighty. But this is how we address phishing or just any type of particular documents that may not sit too well with you inside of your environment. Alrighty. Kayla, throwing it back to you.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I actually had a customer recently who's been getting hit. I mean, just constantly. It's not even just to one inbox. It's not just to from one email, but it's clearly like the same group of people or same person who's just like doing a lot of things. And it was about pension plans. And so our support team was able to jump in and help there. We made a regex pattern that was able to grab, the different emails. We grabbed it from there's one link that they kept in there that was the same. We grabbed it from that. We found a lot of ways to get creative around these because they're getting creative too. So we kind of have to be on top of it, right? We have to be just as creative and fast and think on our feet as they are. So if one solution, doesn't work, we're always working on other solutions for these different phishing issues. So definitely, we work with all of our customers doing that as well. But cool. Jumping into some of these other pain points. I mean, obviously we've hit, these top three right here, VPNs, and then just phishing emails and docs, etc. Not really skipping over anything, but I am going to kind of just bounce into like data loss prevention. DPL is what we hear as a main issue when people are, coming in and just asking like what we do and what we can help with. So as far as like data loss prevention, it's like kind of like a main point of ours. Bob, and I know we had, worked with a lot of data loss prevention with you guys. How do you address just any type of DPL at all? And, if you have anything that you want to add in there about what your district is doing or what's helping, not helping, any issues you might be seeing.
Yeah, we've had managed methods for a long time. I can't even remember how long, but I just pulled it up on my second monitor to check. We have 21 policies enabled on the Google side of our environment and 5 on the Microsoft side. Policies are around phishing emails. Most of the ones on our Google environment are around data loss. So PII, credit card information, social security information, image risks, things like that, and then confidential documents. So we have policies in place and managed methods for all of those, and that is on both staff and students. So we have found probably 5 documents in the last few years where staff inadvertently were trying to share documents that should not have been shared outside the organization. And managed methods is the tool that alerted us to it.
Good. Well, I'm glad that definitely helped. It's crazy when you start seeing how things are shared. And I mean, John he's seen it all. I mean, down to the, people just sending out credit cards. People are like, oh, here's my, this goes straight into the phishing conversation we were having. People just not knowing how to send things, how to share it, whether internally, and how it can easily get to be external. So as John has mentioned as well, we split our environments. We're easy to split up between staff and students and be able to, create these certain policies for each. And Bob, you hit a great point that, you can have them set for both. I mean, obviously the image risks and things like that, a lot of those we see a lot of times in both environments, those PII, PCI, you get a lot of that with, our finance team and things like that maybe doesn't know how to share their tax records. We see a lot of the tax records in there, into tax season, and that was pretty relevant in our lives for a little while. So I'm going to pass this over to John. John, if you want to go ahead and kind of touch a little bit on some data loss, maybe even jumping into those third-party apps and things like that too, and how we can address that.
Yes. I am going to address those with our policies again, and then I'm going to use the rest of the time to talk about apps, only because I do want to make sure that we do show Classroom today, because we definitely had questions about what we can do there. So very quickly, exactly kind of what Bob was saying with managed methods. First off, discovered risk, that is any sensitive information flowing throughout your environment, and that is whatever you want to look for. So what I mean by that, by default, we have 2 for data loss prevention, PII, PCI. We have 4 for student safety. That will be self-harm machine learning, toxicity risk machine learning, image risk machine learning, and self-harm strict. Now, I say whatever you want to be on the lookout for, because what I always tell people, managed methods is all about visibility and control, or I guess I can use the words we actually use, audit and control, because whatever you want to look for, John, I want to be on the lookout for employee IDs, okay? And even something as silly, not silly because kids are actually doing it, as kids eating Tide Pods. Whatever you want to be on the lookout for, you can go ahead and build that risk scan, and we are monitoring those things as they flow through the Gmail. So sent or received, drive files, created, modified, shared in an inappropriate way, classroom announcements, and also shared drive files, right? So with all of this information here, this is the risk scans letting you know, hey, we are recognizing things like PCI for credit cards or PII for social security numbers. We're letting you know something like, hey, this is a shared drive file that's saying it's a list of students' social, like, well, what's going on here? Yes, you will literally find things like this. And what I always tell people is look at that created on date. Because as I said earlier, as long as the file exists inside of your environment, the time frame does not matter. So you will sometimes see, why did this teacher decide to build a file, a drive file in 2020 and continuously update it in 2025, right? So quarantine those things. That will give you the ability to break all shares, change ownership, investigate. If nothing is wrong, restore it back. Delete, it is absolutely gone out of your environment. John, I don't want anything to do with this. Get it out of there. Share via email. We'll send a notification to another one of your colleagues. Hey, Bob, take a look at this. This is crazy. Remind later. We all get busy. Set a reminder. Come back to it. And then label. This is just so you can, 1, break up all that white space, and then 2, you can actually search via labels. So, John, I don't know, but I know it was probably critical. Okay, label, look for a critical. There you go. All right. Now these risk scans are showing you, and something that you do have the ability to do is filter and say, okay, well, is it leaving my environment? Is it incoming or just staying within? And last but not least, the cherry on top to that is being able to build a policy that will be on the lookout for that. So you can say, all right, scroll down. Let's use the Social Security and credit cards, right? So this is leaving your organization. You can say, John, nope, delete those files if they try to do it. Quarantine those files, revoke the share, warn your user. Share drive, delete the files, warn your user. And for email, this is the only caveat here. We cannot stop email from leaving your environment, but something that you all will get a great kick out of, I call it the CYA policy, because delete the email and this will delete it from the sent box. John, why would we do that? Because how often do you or anybody that you know actually delete your sent mail, right? And now that's not a shot at anybody out there, but that's just saying there are literally teachers who will take a picture of 5 credit cards front and back and send it in an email out of your environment. John, why did they do that? I don't know. But the CYA policy is saying, you know what? I can't stop it from leaving, but I'm going to delete that thing because I do not want your credit cards or your socials sitting in your inbox or your sent mailbox, right? So always help people out with that. Cover yourself, just delete it. There's no need for you to be hanging on to their personal information, right? And just like with all policies, we will notify you every 4 hours or immediately if you go ahead and select notify admin. All right. Now, with that being said, before I go back to the main page, I'm going to talk about apps, because how do we control those third-party apps? Well, first, we kick them out. Once we kick those apps out, we then build app policies that will keep them out. So, John, VPN explicit shouldn't be anywhere in my environment. Cool. Turn that on, revoke access. So every single time any of your end users try to sign into an app that you set to revoke access, we will continuously kick them out, right? I've literally seen a student try to sign in to TikTok 18 times. You would think somewhere between 1 and 15, they would have been like, oh, maybe I should stop, right? So this is controlling what has OAuth access, because inside of managed methods, it does not matter if it is an extension, single sign-on, or an application. If you grant OAuth access into our environment, we are going to see it, right? So the apps tab here, again, anything that has OAuth access. So John, I signed in 3 years ago and forgot about it. It still has an OAuth token. It still has access to your environment. Revoke that token, break it, be done with it. And then the
And
app
if you forgot
policies,
about it, doesn't
keep
mean
them
that
out.
they
Yep,
did.
yep. All right. So last thing, just to tee us up, classroom manager. Kayla, you want to say anything about that, or you want me to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we first of all, I hang out with you all day, every day on these calls. And I don't know if this is just like my brain that hasn't been like turning, but I just figured out what your CYA policy is. And so I'm over here just kind of chuckling to myself. Yeah, so it looks like we covered a bunch of, VPNs. We've covered phishing, whether it being emails and shared docs, kind of jumped into those third-party apps, like you said, you may have forgotten that you signed in with it, that they did not. They will still have that access. Went into a little bit of data loss, compromised accounts. Really want to jump into now. And again, it's a forever losing battle, but we're trying for keeping students focused and engaged, right? I feel like keeping anyone focused for over, 20 minutes is a little hard. What is that? That's that scientific time is like 20 minutes, over 20 minutes. People are just like, they look away. So keeping students focused and engaged, it's an uphill battle, but John, let's go ahead and jump in to show how we're working on helping everyone out with that.
Yes, ma'am. And this is the last bit before we jump into the Q&A session. So please, 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 a few more minutes, and I promise we will pass the mic to you all. First things first, our classroom management piece is on the same framework as our content filter here. So if you use a content filter, you might be saying, hey, I use that. I've never seen those buttons before, because it is not enabled just yet for your environment. Now, the next thing, what I am on now, these scenes are pre-built destinations for your students, right? So you can actually build this before class. And like what I've done for myself, hey, you know what? Attention, everybody get on track. Or I can say, let's begin. I want everybody on these same pages. Or the rewards center. If you are using both our content filter and our classroom management piece, the teachers will have the ability to temporarily override the content filter. So what I mean by that is, if you lock down games for everyone, but the teacher says, hey, you guys were good today, go ahead and open up the reward center. This will temporarily allow them, but only throughout that session. Okay. So this is how you can allow ad hoc blocking and allowing for your staff members. Now, with that being said, once you actually go ahead and start the session, right, it will default for 1 hour because, hey, things happen, teachers get busy, right? So in case they forget to end the session, we will drop the students out once it goes to all zeros. All right. The students do not have to accept anything. And once the class starts, they will be dropped inside of the course. You can pin students to the top. Now, something else very cool, this little preview picture here, what this will allow you to do, if your kids think they're sneaky and they can be faster than our content filter, you can hit this preview. Oh, so you guys are actually on Amazon right now. Okay. With that, take a screenshot. This will timestamp it, and it will go wherever your downloads are directed to go inside of Chrome. If the student gets pulled out because early release, his parents picked him up, he got in trouble, so remove him from the class, you can actually remove them from this active session. It's not forever. These icons here, you can actually change the page, right? There you go. You can click into the screen, see it clearer now, right? And directly from here, you know what, John, kids shouldn't be on Yahoo all day. Well, you can actually, again, ad hoc block or allow, go ahead and block Yahoo for the session, right? And then it's gone, closes out. You can also close the tabs out directly from here. And you can still take a screenshot even from the enlarged pop-up. On the right-hand side of the page, the summary is just letting you know what's going on inside of your environment. Your scenes, as I've said before, these are pre-built scenes that will, send them to whatever destination you want. Now, I'm actually going to show you two things, right? What I'm going to show you is this is the student screen, right? And right now, they can't get to games. We have it blocked, right? Well, the teacher, you guys have been good today. Go ahead, send them out to the reward center, closes it out. And oh, look, that same gaming site is now open for the students, right? Now, again, this is only temporarily for the actual session. Once the session ends, they will be dropped right back into the main group. Now, something else that I wanted to bring to your attention as I edit this right here is when the students actually go to a game, it will block all the content around it. I'll show it 1 second. Let me pull it over here. This is the student screen. So this is the game, but we're blocking all those ads on the side, right? So this is only what we're allowing them to go through to. And the teacher can very easily end that session, go back to normal, right? She can also make breakout sessions. So if all the class doesn't deserve this, maybe just one, you can build a reward center just for that one student, right? Or a couple of students. You have the ability to deploy out tabs. So here, send them to a tab. Everybody will go to the exact same tab. Okay. From there, you can actually go ahead and close out tabs from here. So yeah, you guys don't need to be on that game site anymore. Go ahead and close it down. And when you reload, you'll see the game has left. And then last but not least is the chat function. This is currently 1 to all. So this is really the teacher getting everyone's attention, right? If they're on a Chromebook, it will pop up on the actual Chromebook. Since I'm on a Windows device, this is on my third screen somewhere, right? Now, with all that said and done, before we go, I want to show you all one thing really quick. I'm gonna go ahead and put this reward center back for the student because I want them to be able to go to the game site, right? Now, watch how quick we drop them back into the actual content filter. I will end the session. So the students will go back to the actual session. Let's hope I'm not being made a liar today. Reload, boom, just like that. It's already being blocked again. So as soon as that teacher ends the session, they go right back into the normal content filter, right? And to finish up, you do have the ability to see, okay, well, what happened in that class? You can get a session summary. So when it started, blocks being added, tabs being closed, focus mode enabled, messages being sent, right? And then finally at the end, we ended the session, okay? That in a nutshell is our classroom management piece right now. All right. So Kayla, what slide would you like me to go to? Oh,
yeah, this is great. We had a couple questions and it looks like we answered a decent amount of them. Something that's great about this style of webinars, we already knew the questions that were kind of already being asked. We asked them before, so we could address them there. And if anyone else has any questions right now, please feel free to drop it in that Q&A, or you can even direct chat us. Either way works. But it looks like a lot of them that we had been asked we've gone over. So that being said, yeah, we'll leave a little bit of extra time to see if anyone has anything. For the time being, I definitely wanted to we threw this up on the screen just for now. But first and foremost, I wanted to thank all of you guys for being here. Like I said, we have a couple more minutes, but thank you guys. Appreciate everything and your time. Mainly you, Bob. I appreciate you jumping in here with us today and hanging out with us for the hour. We've really loved having you, and it's not the first time you've hung out with us, and we will always appreciate it. So, like I said, thanks for being here for sure.
Always happy to help.
Awesome, you're great. JB, you hear it from me all the time. You know you're great. So appreciate you for coming in and showing those as well. But yeah, if you guys have those questions, feel free to also email. I feel like questions come up towards the end, and that's just how it is. You see this fun little arrow here jumping into our QR code. That is going to take you straight to our free trial page. All 3 of our products, we offer free trials. So if you're using a different product right now and you want to run it side by side, we can easily do that for you guys just to see what we can do before you decide that, hey, this is right for us or not. So I see a couple things coming in the chat here. So let me address these while we have our last 5 minutes here. So it looks like a question, is there documentation on the policy creation, etc.? John, I'm going to let you jump in on these questions here.
Yeah, no worries. So the one thing that I always bring everyone's attention to inside of the Cloud Access Monitor platform, so like you said, for the policy creations, is if you come over to view user activity, I always make the joke, if you even sneeze inside of Managed Methods, we have an action to be able to search for it. So the reason why it's taking forever, this is our demo environment. Everybody in the company will pop up on this user activity. So exactly how you're seeing here, you're literally seeing people work in real time. So good job for Michael. And then from there, you can actually filter out for what you're looking for. And literally the list goes on. So policy creation. But again, you get it, all these different things. I'm just looking for the one you specifically asked for. Entity type. And if not, then policy. And yeah, right there. So you run that, and this will talk about the policies that are being created. Yep. There we go. Or edited, disabled. Yep. And you see how far back we go. Ooh, buddy. But yes, even if they sneeze in here, we'll be able to answer it. And then I also see that next question, can policies have start end dates? At this point in time, we do not have start end dates. So yes, ma'am, it would just be disabling it, or if it's something that you would need to build an exclusion for, we can actually build an exclusion for it. But at this point in time, there are no start stop time-based policies, if that makes any sense.
And Shauna, that's actually
we run into that with almost all of our stuff. And what we've had to do both on Managed Methods and in our Azure environment is just set calendar reminders. I'm not going to say an ongoing Managed Methods problem. It's a problem with most web tools like this, because Azure does the same thing.
Yes, sir.
I live my life around calendar invites and updates. So I get that, but it's something that is definitely in our dev team's hands. That's not something that we have, it's the first time we've heard it. It's something that's in our dev team's hands, and we are absolutely aware of that. And it is something that we are currently working on. So we do have this other question in here that someone asked in the poll, how to search O365 suspicious logins and what files were accessed. And we'll get to that. If you guys have any more questions too, feel free. I'll reach out to you in an email, since we're probably not gonna have time today. But if you have other questions, keep dropping them in and I'll get to you. But I'll let you finish up here, John.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so just with this question here, how would you do it on the O365 side? Honestly, it is literally the same thing, but Microsoft actually gives you more information. So accounts, just like we did on the Microsoft side, you come down to the login analyzer, right? And same thing, you can go ahead and look for unapproved, You can go ahead and look for suspicious unapproved. But again, Google does a really good job of telling you this information because as you're saying, you can see the app, the device, the browser, the locate. Even in the event type, we give you a little bit more information about what happened. So yes, that is how you can do it on the O365 side. And then as far as the files that were accessed, if you are talking about by someone in your environment inside of managed methods, then again, you will just look at the console user activity. So view user activity. Now, if you're talking about just in general, like if someone accessed the file inside of your O365 or your OneDrive, uh, really, it would just be the files your most recently created or modified within the past 30 days or 90 days if it has any risk on that, right? And then from there, you do have the ability to click on the file and see all that pertinent information, sharers, owners, everything about that particular file. So I think that answers your the second part of your question. And if not, please feel free to drop in another question and I'll try to answer that. Google side, can you export drive activity? Is this available in Office 365? So this is probably going to be the last one, but Google side, can you export the drive activity? Yes, you can. So let's say students, drive files, and then really it is whatever you filter for, right? So as far as, again, if you're talking about who inside of your environment has been looking at your drive files, view console user activity, because you can see everything that they were doing inside of here. Now, if you're just trying to pull a report on what, has happened with these most recent files, it is truly whatever you filter, right? And then you can actually pull a report. And when you hit email, you can actually schedule a report instead of just generating it now. All right.
Yeah.
As Kayla said, any other questions, please, y'all, feel free to drop us an email. We totally don't mind answering it. And we truly, truly, truly appreciate everyone for stopping in today to see this presentation. Kayla, you got
Absolutely.
anything else for them?
Yeah, if you just want to throw up that last slide real fast. Again, if you guys need anything at all, please feel free to reach out. Feel free to email me. You see my name on the screen right here. So my email is just kbrown@ManagedMethods. Send me an email, give me a call. You've hung out with me for an hour. I'm here to chat with you. I'm happy to do so. So thanks again. I'm Bob for sure. JB, I appreciate both of you guys. Bob, spending your time this last hour with us. We appreciate it a lot. So same with all of you guys. If you need anything at all, we're always here. Hope to see you again soon.
Right.
Awesome. Bye, you guys.